When your brain goes to autopilot, how to get it back. We often find our brains running on autopilot. I do. I'm sure you do too. It's a problem made worse because there aren't many culturally recognized places that we can go to practice self-awareness, to break out of habit thinking, to break out of autopilot. But we, those of us rebuilding spiritual communities, the whole point of this project, we can create those spaces for one another. Now, I know that's true because I helped our community become one of those culturally recognized places where we could practice self-awareness. So today, a very specific tool that we designed to help us be that. It's a tool that helps us catch our habit thoughts and our habit behaviors before they run our lives. We call it Doing a Worksheet. Now, if you want to see what a worksheet looks like, if you want to read about it, you can go to my website, doughammock.com. Under the Resources tab, there's a quick guide section. Go in there and click on the one Doing a Worksheet. Again, it's a way to turn the idea of self-awareness, we've been exploring that, to turn the idea into action, to turn it into practice. So we created the tool by deconstructing and then reconstructing the ancient practice of confession. For centuries, religious people practiced confession in a box. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. People have told me many times in their lives that practice was very, very helpful. Now, they told me that even as they were rejecting their inner story about the practice. They were rejecting the story that there's a faraway God way up in the sky watching over their bad deeds, insisting that they go sit in the box and say the words out loud, all the bad shit they did. And if they did that, then this faraway God would forgive their badness and, more importantly, would not smite them, which admittedly is a harsh telling of the story that they were telling themselves, but it is kind of the story, which makes me pretty sure that it wasn't a helpful practice because of the story, maybe in spite of it. In spite of the toxic story, there was something helpful, something cathartic in the practice. So maybe if we deconstruct and reconstruct the practice, we might find what is helpful, what is beautiful. So let me tell you about the tool we designed. First, let me tell you how we created it. In the years that I led our community through deconstructing and reconstructing our religion, a guiding principle for us, instead of abandoning practices that we no longer found helpful, we tried to explore them historically, strip them back, find the kernel of goodness that is in them, that was the reason why they existed in the first place. What problem did they solve way back when? How did they touch a very real human need? And then when we found that kernel of goodness, we'd see if we could reimagine the practice in a way that could touch that very real human need now. Well, we did that whole stripping back and rebuilding process with confession. We stripped away the unhelpful parts, the fessing up part, the faraway God part, the avoiding punishment part, but then asked the question, what is good and what is helpful? And that's how we got to our self-awareness worksheet. Because our brains are habit machines. We do what we've done, we think what we've thought, we feel what we have felt. Habit machines our brains. So when we do something or say something that isn't how we want to be, the kinds of things that we might confess, odds are high we're going to do it again. Odds are high we've done it before, because again, brains do what they've done. So doing a worksheet became a way to help us unearth why we did the thing, why we thought the thought, why we felt the feeling, because that helped us become more self-aware enough to start interrupting habit when it would kick in. Now the worksheet is pretty simple. It's a series of writing prompts. We do them when some afflictive emotion arises, when some surge of energy comes up inside of us. Because when that happens, it's often an indicator that some submerged ego as self construct has been poked. Now, since that construct is in there, we would be well served to know what it is, so we do a worksheet, self-awareness. Our afflictive emotions became then invitations for us to go find out what those usually unseen internal drivers that we carry around inside of ourselves are. Do a worksheet. We do it to break up the pattern of our usual response, to break up what we usually do, what we usually think, what we usually feel, what we usually say. It's a tool to stop the cycle, stand back from it, know it, understand it, become more aware. It's a tool for living the examined life. It's a tool for living the integrated wisdom of Socrates and Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism, what we've been exploring these last episodes. It's a practice of self-awareness. So again, I hope you'll download it. I hope you'll look it over and you'll see the writing prompts. They are, what's the story I'm telling myself? Some sub-questions to help clarify that. What feelings did I feel? A list of feeling words to help us. What's the bigger picture? Some prompts to help us explore patterns in our lives where we've seen that before. Some prompts to help name the pattern, help us stand outside of it so that we can weaken its hold over us. All of which allows us to not be so immersed in our habit patterns. All of which helps us become more able to observe our patterns, to see them as they're happening. There you are again, my old friend, hyper-responsible me. Or, there you are again, my old friend, my needs don't matter version of me. Or, I can't allow myself to be vulnerable me. Now you'll see as you read over the prompts, they're pretty straightforward. They're not hard to understand. But they do invite us to think thoughts that we don't usually think. Break out of habit thinking. So they will take some time and they will take some focus. But the reward is self-awareness. And that will change our lives. When I was teaching our community to do worksheets, I would often use a common household example. One person habitually does not load their dishes. The other person is fed up cleaning up after them, all pretty normal. And when that episode kicks in, here come the brain thoughts, the habit feelings, the habit words. Seriously, you couldn't take 30 seconds? Or maybe we go passive aggressive. Must be nice not having to care about the kitchen. Or maybe we go accusatory. You never clean up after yourselves. Or maybe we go victim-y. Whatever, I'll just do it like I always do. Now, you hear those words out loud as I say them, and you know that is not going to go well. But even so, we say those words, or some version of them. And we do it all the time, because habit brain. But here's the good news. We can develop new habits. Insert some writing, insert some thinking between stimulus and response, and we can help ourselves do what Socrates said. Find the good life, find the inner life, find the virtue life. Find truth and goodness and beauty and live the examined life. So it takes work, sure it does, but it's doable work. It's a life worth living kind of work. We don't usually see our habits, we usually just do them. So when we start doing worksheets, we usually only see things have gone sideways after the fact. But that's okay. Doing a worksheet after the fact helps us see the pattern, helps us see the habit, even if it is after the fact. In our community, I work really hard to normalize that. I worked really hard that it was okay to do a worksheet after we had already screwed something up. It's not a problem, I would say. Sure, we saw it after the fact, but we saw it. And after a worksheet, we understand it. So do another worksheet tomorrow and another after that. And pretty soon we will start seeing our habits much earlier, maybe even before we act on them. The practice does change our brains. It does rewire our habits. It does change our relationships. It does help us live into that Socratic ideal of the good life. So I hope you'll look the worksheet over. You'll see the questions. I hope you'll give it a test drive. And I hope you'll do a practice group with me and with some other leaders so that you can use the tool in your own community. There's an invitation to connect on my website. Again, it's been a transformative practice in my life and in our community's life. Next time, creating a culture in our communities so that self-awareness practice actually happens and does so consistently. If you'd like to get notified when that goes live, subscribe.